In this episode, we continue to delve into Volume 2 of Lord of the Mysteries Faceless. In Volume 1, Clown, the protagonist, having transmigrated as Klein, utilized the luck-changing ritual to establish the Tarot Club above the Grey Fog. Subsequently also became a Beyonder. Receiving enlightenment for Zelda Great's diaries, he quickly digested the Sequence 9 Seer Potion, becoming a Sequence 8 Clown. After experiencing several actions with the Nithok team, Old Neil perished. Later, an evil god descent incident shattered his originally simple and ordinary life. Captain Dunn died in the line of duty, and he himself also died in that battle, fortunately being able to revive through the power above the Grey Fog. After reviving, he departed from Tingen assuming the alias Sherlock Moriarty and arriving in Backlund. Upon reaching the new environment, he needed to rely on his own special skills to integrate into the environment and support himself. Also, to prevent his identity from being detected, he became a private detective, utilizing the Beyonder abilities trained as a seer. After arriving in Backlund, Klein also added new functions to the Tarot Club through member sacrifices to the Fool. The Fool then bestowed gifts, thus completing transactions between members. If the transaction involved learning and knowledge, the Fool could also observe surreptitiously. This new function was largely unaffected by distance, and would be highly beneficial for transactions among Tarot Club members in the future, facilitating sequence advancement among members. Miss Justice Audrey was the first beneficiary. Obtaining materials through a transaction and concocting a potion, she advanced from Sequence 9 Spectator to Sequence 8 Judge. After Klein arrived in Backlund under the name Sherlock Moriarty, the first commission Klein received in Backlund was a missing person case concerning a young boy named N who was being pursued. N wanted Klein to ascertain the current situation of his employer. Through Beyonder abilities, Klein discovered that Ain's employer was already deceased and divined the location of his body. However, this commission drew Klein into danger. Because Ain's employer was dead, it implicated the underworld. Klein had made contact with Ain, so they also planned to kill Klein. But the assassins who came to assassinate Klein underestimated Klein's abilities and were instead killed by Klein. The mastermind behind this assassination directly pointed to Backlund Gehrman Sparrow, the ambassador of the Intis Republic stationed in the Kingdom of Lone. Therefore, for his personal safety, Klein purchased the Beyonder item, Source of Filth, at a Beyonder gathering. Source of Filth contained the spiritual pollution of the evil god, true creator. Simultaneously, he bought a handgun and also became acquainted with the Beyonder Merrick, agreeing to pay him £1,000 to secure 3 days of protection from Miss Sharon, a Sequence 5 Wraith of the Prisoner Pathway. At the same time, he also posted a bounty at the Tarot Gathering for the assassination of Backlund Gehrman Sparrow, the ambassador of the Intis Republic. The bounty from the previous assassination of Pirate Admiral Killingus, having been obtained by Miss Audrey, who felt it should be returned to attendant of the Fool, used this opportunity to raise the bounty amount to £10,000, and through her circles, released this bounty. Ambassador Backlund was successfully assassinated by Mr. A of the secret organization Aurora Order. The Aurora Order venerated the evil god True Creator, and Klein, at the same time, was targeted by assassins dispatched by the ambassador's men. The one who came to assassinate him happened to be a Sequence 6 marionettist of the Seer Pathway. During Sharon's entanglement with the assassin, Klein utilized the Source of Filth, causing the assassin to be spiritually polluted by an evil god. Klein then used a handgun to shoot through the assassin's head, killing him. Thereupon, Klein entered the Grey Fog and through divination obtained the potion formulas for 7 to Sequence 5 of the Seer Pathway. Simultaneously, from a polluted advancement material, the Black Eye, which manifested upon the assassin's death, Klein utilized it to create a proxy, used to convey inquiries or transactions inconvenient for the Fool, to conduct directly above the Grey Fog. This proxy became Mr. World Card within the Tarot Club, Klein's alternate persona. After resolving his personal crisis, Klein, because the agreed upon 3-day protection period with Miss Sharon had not yet elapsed, Miss Sharon insisted on protecting him until the full 3 days had passed. During this period, he also completed 2 detective commissions under Miss Sharon's protection. One was to assist Miss Mary in secretly photographing evidence of her husband's infidelity. This commission itself was not important, but what was important was that it led her to enter the Kolak Information Club, where she met 2 individuals who would become crucial figures in subsequent important events, Talia and Dr. Aaron. The other commission was to assist a merchant who had just arrived in Backlund in exploring a secret underground passage beneath his residence. Upon entering, Klein discovered that this building was actually a structure from the 4th epoch, containing statues of 6 deities of the current epoch: the Evernight Goddess, the God of Knowledge and Wisdom, the Eternal Blazing Sun, the Lord of Storms, the Earth Mother, and the God of Combat. When Klein approached a certain door, both he and Miss Sharon simultaneously sensed danger and immediately fled. Due to the perceived danger, Klein ultimately decided to cease further exploration. However, Miss Sharon still made an agreement with him that should he wish to investigate this place further, they could contact each other again. Finally, Klein, using the excuse that the underground passage was infested with snakes, collapsed the area, causing the merchant to seal the secret door. Later, before departing from Backlund, Klein, along with Miss Sharon, explored the place one last time, discovering an evil spirit, which they then completely buried. The 3-day period quickly came to an end and Miss Sharon departed. Klein was finally able to enter the Grey Fog to divine a series of recent events. However, some matters were ultimately bound by fate. As both sides' investigations deepened and information was shared, Klein quickly discovered Laris's whereabouts. This individual, who had caused a woman to become pregnant with an evil god's offspring, was one of the masterminds behind the deaths and injuries of the Tingen Nighthawk team, indirectly causing Captain Dunn's death. Upon receiving this information, Klein stood before a mirror, clenching his fists tightly, and said in a hoarse voice, "Captain, this is the first step in my revenge for you." Thereupon he went to the pier where Lanrius was expected to appear, disguising himself as a journalist, using the pretext of interviewing workers to search for his figure, and he actually directly saw Lanrius. Upon seeing Lanrius, his body trembled slightly, and the smile on his face almost spiraled out of control. Using the excuse of needing to use the washroom, he cracked a smile at the corner of his mouth, silently laughing so hard he could barely stand upright, laughing until a drop of glistening liquid fell onto the ground. Klein deeply knew that he was still too weak. Otherwise, he would definitely have chosen to take revenge himself. One was a Sequence 8 clown of the Seer pathway, and the other was a Sequence 7 shepherd, imbued with the aura of the true creator. Merely their level of existence was enough to cause him feel instinctive dread and fear. Klein ultimately had Miss Justice help report to the Church of the Evernight Goddess, informing the Orthodox Church that Lamrius harbored the divinity of an evil god. Once this news came out, everyone, whether it was the Church of the Evernight Goddess or Miss Justice and the others, was astonished. They had brushed shoulders with an evil god just like that. The Nighthawk team side took this matter with utmost seriousness, but Klein was still unwilling to accept it. He anticipated Laris's demise and ultimately decided to observe the operation to encircle and suppress Lamrius that night. He wanted to witness firsthand the price the other party would pay for his previous madness. At 11 p.m., Klein stood in the shadows of a massive wall, overlooking Laris's residence. He stared intently for a few seconds, then retreated a step, merging into the darkness. Simultaneously, he took out a mask and put it on his face. This was a clown mask with its mouth corners upturned high, and its nose painted with red grace paint, a happy clown, a jovial clown. The Nighthawk team began their operation. They deployed a large number of weapons and dispatched Seams, one of the 9 high-ranking deacons, carrying a level 1 sealed artifact to participate. During this battle, many people were awakened from their sleep one after another by explosions. Those who attempted to stop the Nighthawk team were directly killed. When Lanrius walked silently down the stairs, his expression was detached and calm. He abruptly pulled open his clothes, revealing a humanoid figure composed of skinless parts in his chest and abdomen, a figure hanging upside down. As soon as the human figure appeared, with a resounding crash, the surrounding void shattered like glass. All the scenery collapsed and disintegrated. This was the aura of a deity. However, Lanrius had already been infected by the true creator. It turned out that as early as in Tingen, his body had already been implanted with a seed by the true creator, and now this seed was gradually integrating with him within his body. He utilized this power to influence all the Nighthawks, escaping the encirclement within layers of encirclement. Klein, who was watching from the sidelines, would not allow him to escape like this. Even if it was dangerous, even if he was no match, he divined Lanrius's escape route and pursued him. Just as Lanrius entered the sewers, fleeing rapidly, he suddenly stopped instinctively, leaning his body back, a playing card deeply inserted into his body, blood spurting out. This was because Lanrius had already been injured during the confrontation with the Nighthawk team. Klein seized the opportunity and used a lullaby charm, immediately following up with punch after punch to Lanrius's face. In the end, he was killed by Klein, who was wearing a clown mask. Watching Laris's head fly out, Klein laughed maniacally, bending over at the waist, laughing, gasping for breath, laughing in a way that sounded even worse than crying. When he finally calmed down, he said to himself, "Captain, look, we have saved Lone once again." Drop after drop of liquid silently streaked down, landing on his collar. At this moment, Klein's clown potion was finally completely digested. After Klein left, official Nighthawks found Lanrius's corpse covered by tarot cards. Having completed his initial revenge, Klein cast off much of the oppressive weight. Before advancing to Sequence 4, he would not proactively seek out entangled, a demigod and a demigod. In the following period, Klein quietly continued to work as a normal detective. Soon Klein, through the Tarot Club and a secret gathering in Backlund, obtained the materials for a Sequence 7 potion, concocted the potion, drank it, and finally crossed the threshold into the middle sequences, becoming a Sequence 7 magician of the Seer pathway. That very night happened to be the full moon. In the Kuwait district of Backlund, in a certain building, Force's ears rang with the insane whispers that were invariably present during every full moon. Tormented, she tore out handfuls of hair and painfully broke her fingernails. Having received no response after reciting the honorific name of her belief, the god of steam and machinery, Force in desperation, recited a mysterious incantation that Audrey had intentionally revealed to her. The fool who does not belong to this era. You are the mysterious ruler above the gray fog. You are the king of yellow and black who wields good luck. Save me, save me. Force's plea reached Klein, who had just advanced to magician. Thereupon, he pulled Force above the gray fog, blocking the full moon whispers and saving her. From then on, Force, using the magician as her codename, joined the Tarot Club. Subsequently, Klein used his Beyonder abilities and a group of detectives to solve a serial murder case, earning £300 in income. He also helped a priest from the Harvest Church resolve a case of mental breakdown. He obtained the potion formula for the apothecary and the mystical item, the Key of Stars, an all-purpose key capable of opening all locks that do not contain mystical power, albeit at the cost of occasionally causing the wielder to get lost. Here, Klein became acquainted with the vampire Emlyn White. Later, he sold the apothecary potion formula to the magician, Miss Force, while the Key of Stars was quickly put to use by him for theft. On one occasion, while visiting the Roselle Memorial Exhibition, Klein discovered a bookmark recorded in Roselle the Great's diary, which was precisely a blasphemy card mentioned in Roselle the Great's diary. Coincidentally, Audrey was also visiting this exhibition. Thereupon, with Miss Audrey's help, Klein, again utilizing the Key of Stars' ability to open locks, successfully stole this blasphemy card. This card was the Black Emperor card, recording the names of the entire series of potions for the Black Emperor pathway to godhood. Up to this point, the Tarot Club, led by the Fool, finally possessed a complete sequence of potion formulas. Now Klein, on one hand, grasped secrets concerning deities, while on the other hand, he only understood rudimentary ritualistic magic. Therefore, to enhance his mystical knowledge, in exchange for a secret book from Miss Sharon then had Klein assist them in killing a Sequence 5 Beyonder. It turned out that Miss Sharon was from the secret organization, Rose School, which was known for its bloody sacrifices, believing that the will of self mainly originated from various desires. Due to differing concepts regarding desire, the Rose School internally had two major factions, Intemperance and Indulgence. Currently, 3 Beyonders of the Indulgence faction were pursuing Miss Sharon. Klein divined that the danger was not great and decided to help. Not doing unprepared performances was one of the magician's acting principles. Thereupon, Klein decided to return to prepare. He purchased a sun brooch that extremely restrained evil and aberrant powers, and subsequently, at the battle location, deployed many explosives and items. Therefore, Klein cooperated with Miss Sharon to kill all 3 Beyonders. The spoils of war were a secret book containing mystical knowledge, and a biological toxin bottle, capable of creating different toxins within a certain space. One day, a reporter from a club he had previously joined hired Klein as a bodyguard to investigate the slums. This time, he witnessed the living conditions of many people at the bottom of society, seeing an old woman die before their eyes after eating her fill, and also seeing seemingly pitiful children who were actually pickpockets. It was then that Klein truly realized that Backlund was indeed such a city of hope, with an annual disappearance rate of 350,000 people. He once again recalled Roselle the Great saying, "The Industrial Revolution will eventually become the breeding ground for evil gods." On another front, Miss Justice, Audrey made contact with the psychology alchemists, who controlled the spectator pathway, and who worshipped the original creator. Simultaneously, the hanged man, Alger, had digested the Sequence 7 Sailor Potion and began collecting the potion formula for Sequence 6 Wind Blessed. The magician, Miss Force, made contact with the descendants of the Abraham family, who controlled the apprentice pathway, and soon after became a student, albeit informal, of Dorian Abraham, an elder of the family. The Abraham family, who controlled the door pathway sequence, had once been extremely powerful, but their descendants were cursed by the ancestor, Dur, who was crying out for help. Because in a disaster, almost all high sequence members of the family had perished, and the low and mid-sequence Beyonders could not withstand Dur's cries for help and whispers. They had all transformed into monsters, and from then on, the family declined. Leonard, Klein's former colleague, wanting to enhance his strength due to the Tingen incident, joined the Red Gloves, the elite team of the Church of the Evernight Goddess. Parasitic within his body was a Sequence 1 old angel. The angel, having suffered grievous injuries, chose to parasitize within Leonard's body to evade his enemies. When Leonard asked who his enemy was, the old angel's aged voice became somber, slowly uttering, "Amen." Another Tarot Club member, the son Derek, whose elder in Silver City, Lovia, was a Sequence 5 shepherd of the True Creator pathway. In a mission at a True Creator's temple, the leader in charge of the operation was precisely Lovia. To avoid performing missions alongside her, and on the hanged man, Alger's advice, Derek deliberately placed himself in a state of spiritual exhaustion for a period of time. After Derek did so, he was isolated in a certain place, where he encountered an old man. The old man had been in prison for 42 years. 42 years prior, when their team was performing a mission, they had encountered a person wearing a monocle, claiming to be Ammon. This was none other than the blasphemer Amun. Subsequently, members of the entire team had continuously lost control and transformed into monsters. Unbeknownst to him, Derek had also suffered Ammon's possession. He hastily prayed to the Fool. Klein, being merely a Sequence 7 Beyonder, could only utilize the power above the Grey Fog to have Derek perform a mysterious ritual, and, with the aid of the Black Emperor's persona and the 12 winged angels, resolved Ammon's possession. Although he had only faced a split body of Ammon this time, the sense of oppression brought by a high sequence once again made Klein keenly aware of the urgency to advance in sequence. On the Silver City side, Derek's unusual behavior led to the discovery that Derek had uttered the honorific name, the Fool, during his prayer. However, Colin, the chief of the 6-member council of Silver City, believed that this harbored Silver City's hope for survival before the impending doomsday catastrophe, and also Silver City's hope of leaving the land forsaken by God, thus deciding to let it take its course. At the next Tarot gathering, the hanged man, Alger mentioned the recent colonial slave disappearance incidents at sea. Not long after, Klein also discovered the disappearance of a little girl in Backlund, which subsequently implicated the human trafficker Pone. To rescue the little girl, Klein, after disguising himself, held the Black Emperor card and chanted the Fool's honorific name, transforming into a spirit body and infiltrating Capone's villa. He turned on the gas, using the biological toxin bottle he had previously obtained to mask the scent. While poisoning some of the Beyonders, he was pursued by high-sequence Beyonders. Klein continuously delayed the time of gas accumulation, and finally, when the moment arrived, Klein ceased evasion, snapped his fingers, and instantly the entire villa was engulfed in flames, accompanied by a deafening explosion. The human trafficker Capone was killed. Klein scattered tarot cards on Capone's body and then departed. Because Klein left an Emperor card on Capone's corpse after being discovered by official Beyonders, outsiders began to call this unknown hero the Black Emperor. After the Capone affair concluded, Silver City was once again in turmoil. Lovia's team returned after exploring the True Creator's temple, but Derek, who had long anticipated this, discerned a promelies. The entire team, except for Elder Lovia, lost control and transformed into monsters. Subsequently, Derek and Elder Lovia also caught the chief's attention. For the sake of Silver City's safety and continuation, and also for Silver City's hope of leaving the land forsaken by God, the chief tried his best to maintain a balance between Lovia and Derek, because he did not know which side held the true hope for Silver City's future. At the same time, the True Creator behind Lovia discovered the Fool's existence, and ordered Mr. A of the Aurora Order to seek information about the Fool in Backlund. When Klein reappeared at the club, Dr. Aaron recounted some recent bizarre encounters to Klein. The origin of all this was a paper crane foretold to Dr. Aaron by a sick child. After investigation, Klein discovered that this paper crane was actually related to the Mercury Snake of the Monster Pathway Sequence 1. Klein quickly understood that the Mercury Snake might have encountered some danger, and intended to be reborn through transmigration, using Dr. Aaron's child as a vessel, and then he took away the paper crane that connected with the Mercury Snake. This matter came to a close. However, Klein's leisurely days did not last long, because he had previously helped solve a serial murder case, leading to the death of a demonic hound. He was targeted for revenge by its master. A Sequence 7 Desire Apostle of the Devil Pathway wanted to kill this group of detectives who had solved the case together. However, this person's true aim was not revenge. Simultaneously, after divination, Klein discovered that this person's face was disguised. This oversight led the officials to completely err in their direction of pursuit, allowing the Desire Apostle to seize an opportunity and kill his true target, Duke Negan Palace. Just as the Desire Apostle was about to flee, Leonard, Klein's former teammate, who had now become a Red Glove, arrived, wielding a sealed artifact. But before the officials arrived, Klein entered the Grey Fog, divining the Desire Apostle's escape route. He merged his spirit body into the Black Emperor Blasphemy card, transforming into the Black Emperor, and used tarot cards to kill the Desire Apostle on the spot. This time, the officials were once again shocked by the Black Emperor. Klein, through interrogating the Desire Apostle's spirit body, learned that the reason this person was willing to abandon everything to kill Duke Negan was because someone had offered a Abyss Blasphemy card in exchange. The source of this mission was precisely the Twilight Hermit Society, a secret organization that even Roselle the Great could not mention in his diary. This time, when Klein cooperated with official Beyonders, he encountered a level 1 sealed artifact, the magic mirror Aragodes, which addressed Klein as Master. The only reason a level 1 sealed artifact would manifest in this way was that Klein harbored the secret of the Grey Fog. This would later lead Aragodes to provide him with much assistance. After this incident, Klein's magician potion was completely digested. He now only needed to concoct a sequence 6 potion to drink it directly. Thereupon, he acquired most of the potion ingredients traded from the vampire Emlyn, and through Miss Audrey at the Psychology Alchemists, obtained the final ingredient he needed: human skin shade. Finally, on this night, Klein drank the potion, advancing to sequence 6, becoming a Faceless. Not long after, the vampire Emlyn, due to a revelation from the vampire progenitor Lilith, bestowed upon the Fool an honorific name, becoming Mr. Moon of the Tarot Club. At this time, in the land forsaken by God, Silver City, Chief Colin once again assembled an exploration team to enter the True Creator's temple, with Derek joining them. As they were about to reach the temple, the exploration team made a brief rest stop at a campsite. After an indeterminate amount of time, Chief Colin spoke it. Depart after 50 lightning strikes. After experiencing a simple journey and some battles, the team reached the center of the temple. At this moment, a child's voice rang out, "Save me." The one pleading for help was a child of 7 or 8 years old, calling himself Jack. When Colin questioned him, Jack suddenly raised his head, his mouth splitting open to his ears. Lunging towards the exploration team, Colin swung his longsword, thrusting it out, and the little boy's figure vanished from sight, emitting an exceptionally bright light. Derek tightly closed his eyes, but when he opened them again, he was back at the campsite outside the temple, resting with the exploration team. After an indeterminate amount of time, Colin once again uttered the words, "Depart after 50 lightning strikes." Indeed, the exploration team had fallen into a loop, and none of them had realized they were trapped in a cycle. At this point, the Tarot gathering convened. The son, Derek, influenced by the Grey Fog space, discerned the truth of the matter. After informing the Fool and the Tarot Club members of the situation, he received assistance from Algerin, the Fool. In a mural, they discovered a silver-haired angel standing upon a shimmering river. The river continuously curved, eventually looping back on itself, forming a cycle, and they also discovered a similar silver-haired angel from the mural on the little boy Jack's chest. Thereupon, he conveyed his discoveries to Chief Colin. Colin recalled one of the 8 angel kings, the Fate Angel, the Tail Eater, Ouroboros. This time, Colin did not kill Jack, but instead killed the angel on his chest. Finally, the loop dream shattered, and the exploration team brought the little boy Jack back with them, because this might be Silver City's hope of leaving the land forsaken by God. According to his original plan, Klein needed to leave Backlund after becoming a Faceless, but he received another commission from Prince Edmund. Because Talum, whom Klein had previously met at the Kolak Information Club, had inexplicably died of heart disease, and the prince had been close to him, he hoped Klein would investigate the true cause of his death. Klein's divinations repeatedly failed. Not long after, he discovered that he had once again been drawn into a level Zorzor sealed artifact incident. The one affected by the level Zor sealed artifact was none other than someone close to the prince, his beloved woman, and she was the one who had killed Talon. Klein immediately rushed to the cathedral and, through confession, conveyed all his findings to the official Beyonders. This woman also very much wanted to meet Klein, but due to repeated coincidences, they failed to meet. Later, the prince personally invited Klein to meet with him, but during a brief moment when Klein went to use the restroom, the prince had already left, and Klein missed him once again. Such a series of extremely coincidental events made Klein realize definitively that he had once again been drawn into the influence of the level Zur sealed artifact 08, the sealed artifact stolen by his enemy Inst Zangwil. Despite Inst Zangwil being his enemy, he still decided to leave Backlund as soon as possible, because his current strength was insufficient to deal with Inst Zangwil. The next day, he conveyed the results he had prepared beforehand to the prince, saying that he had been unable to uncover any findings. Thereupon, the prince dismissed him. But just as he was about to leave the manor, and had just breathed a sigh of relief, a figure rapidly approached. This person was a woman whom Klein recognized at a glance at Triss, whom he had personally witnessed transform from a peroker into a witch. However, Triss harbored no malice. Instead, Triss felt that her life was being manipulated by something, and had even changed her name to Triss Chick. Upon hearing this name, Klein immediately recalled a sentence recorded in a page of Roselle the Great's diary. He is called Chick, and this day is the symbol of Doomsday, the true evil god, the primordial witch. In other words, someone was in the process of transforming Triss into the primordial witch. Triss hoped Klein would allow her to be captured by official Nighthawks, thus freeing her from control. Just as the two finished their conversation, Klein sensed danger and rapidly fled into the distant woods. At this moment, he understood very clearly that he had once again been targeted by sealed artifact 08. His only recourse was to seek Mr. Azik's help. Thereupon he wrote a letter, summoning the messenger, and penned a plea for help. Simultaneously, he conveyed the information that the woman Prince Edmund loved was a pleasure magician to Miss Audrey, who was also a noble, and subtly hinted that a heretical cult was in the process of using Triss as a vessel for the primordial witch, requesting Miss Audrey to relay this information to the official Beyonders. Having done all this, the absurdity of sealed artifact 08 manifested. It caused meteorites to rain down upon Klein. In that critical moment, just as disaster was about to strike, divine soldiers descended from the heavens. A figure pierced through the spirit world and arrived, rescuing Klein. This person was none other than Mr. Zeke. Finally, 008 activated once more, causing Mr. Azik to engage in battle with Zangwo. Although Klein saw his enemy, he was merely a Sequence 6 Beyonder. In a battle between demigods and true gods, his presence would only distract Mr. Azik. Thereupon, utilizing his faceless ability, he continuously changed his appearance, attempting to escape Zangwo's range of influence. Unexpectedly, as he fled, he stumbled upon the True Creator descent ritual being conducted here by members of the Aurora Order. While concealing himself and observing the ritual, he suddenly connected many previously experienced events together in his mind: the colonial slave disappearances, the unexplained evaporation of numerous tribes in the southern continent, Capone, who controlled a large share of the underground slave trade, the 4 Beyonders of the arbitrator pathway suspected of protecting Capone, the goal of the kidnappings being relatively pure, innocent young girls, the Factory Act having been passed, textile industry improvements causing massive unemployment, the annual disappearance of 350,000 people in the East Borough. The purpose of all this was precisely for the Aurora Order to bring about the True Creator's descent into the world. This was the true conspiracy of the Aurora Order and the Witch Sect. One wanted to bring about the primordial witch's descent into the world, and the other wanted to bring about the True Creator's descent. On this day, a world-shaking smog enveloped Backlund, the city of hope. The yellowish-brown smog was like the Grim Reaper reaping lives in the impoverished East Borough. In the East Borough, in the Harbor District, in the Factory District, those who were elderly or suffering from hidden illnesses, like trees being felled, collapsed one after another in the smog. Even relatively robust adults and children experienced mild discomfort. According to preliminary statistics, a total of over 20,000 people died directly in this smog, and the subsequent spreading plague successively claimed nearly 40,000 more lives. As the death toll mounted, streams of grievance flew into the altar, becoming nourishment for the True Creator's resurrection. On the Church of the Evernight Goddess side, Archbishop St. Anthony personally led a team, carrying sealed artifact Zoo-17 Guardian, to apprehend the Aurora Order. Within the Rose Manor, Prince Edmund learned that the woman he loved was a pleasure magician and chose to release her, while the prince himself committed suicide by gunshot. On the other side, Klein, who was observing the True Creator's descent into the human world ritual, even though he shot and killed the person presiding over the ritual, was unable to stop the ritual that had already begun. Klein frantically considered countermeasures. Suddenly, Klein's eyes widened, his mouth corners exaggeratedly upturned, and he turned around, drawing his handgun, unleashing various Beyonder bullets like a storm, successively entering the altar, but to no avail. Abruptly, Klein thought of a Beyonder item, the Key of Stars, which contained Dur, with its cries for help. He threw out the Key of Stars. This was an item that could connect to Dur. Soon an explosion erupted, and everything within a sphere of light was polluted by Dur's curse. The True Creator's descent ritual was directly terminated. Subsequently, Mr. Azik arrived in time, safe taking Klein away. This time, Zangwo was not lightly injured, but he still held on to Zoo-08. However, Klein could now concentrate on enhancing his own strength for a long period of time. Thereupon, on Mr. Azik's advice, Klein took the creeping hunger given to him by Miss Azik and abandoned the identity of Sherlock Moriarty. As the new year arrived, Miss Audrey formally came of age in a social sense. In the new year, Klein, facing the massive crowds surging in Hope Road, facing the people entering the station with beautiful expectations hidden amidst trepidation, departed from Backlund. This was the worst of times and also the best of times, and the tide of the times would surge forth accompanied by the Fool, accompanied by Klein. This time, his alias Gehrman Sparrow embarked on a new journey, seeking materials for advancement, the mermaid. Thus concludes Volume 2 of Lord of the Mysteries, Faceless. If you would like to know the subsequent plot developments, I hope you can give me a like and subscribe.